The country.
Peter Popoff, not one of these stupid people caught on. You're the reason why people stop believing in God. All these faith healers and con artists, even the frauds are surprised by how long the scheme has gone on. Pagans, heathens applaud, some false prophets screaming across the fucking stage while wielding a cross. Angels, demons, and dogma, teaching us, preaching the gospel, based on fear. What a crock, now pay for it. Here's what it costs. If you don't make enough money, then pray for it. Your Visa will charge. Just leave it in the offering basket, along with the keys to your car. Proceed to the exit exceedingly and leave with misleading and flawed ideas. Don't read the Bible or read the Quran. Benny Hinn needs you to stop moving as he places his palm on your forehead and his knee to your crotch.
Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, we don't have that much time, family. Unholy of the Thou Muslims is Unholy of the Thou Muslims is the title of the show. We back on air. It's Sunday, 11 o'clock. It's going down. I had to go in on this subject. And it was inspired by a friend of mine, an ex-friend of mine, who is a Muslim, who dares say shit like thinking that she's holier than thou, thinking that she can down me for different things. I mean, yeah, you know, everyone has their different sins. Everyone has their shortcomings and things of that nature. But how dare you come at me like that? And you a damn Muslim. You know better than a goddamn Christian. You want to talk about holier than thou. You want to talk about right and wrong. But being a Muslim is idolatry. You're breaking the first commandment being a Muslim. Are you serious? And family, I want to apologize. Me being a ghost, I'm just like this. I don't even really tell a whole bunch of people. I didn't tell nobody I was going on air. And I should more often. I posted on Facebook right before I go on air, but what does that do? And truth be told, I got so many people. I even got the brothers in Torah Nights. They got my Quran, my old Quran notes with all the different types of darts throwing at the motherfucking Quran. But I have many different brothers who say, man, you know, I want to see your notes on the Quran. I want to know these notes on the Quran. I want to know how I could shoot holes in lies and deceit and in idolatry. Because this is the idolatry that we deal with the most after Christianity. We all know Christianity to be lies and deceit. But to go in, let me start off with a nice contradiction. Because, of course, the Quran says that it's the Bible in the Arabic language. So we know that to be lies and deceit. We don't even really have to go into lies. Well, let's just show how they butt heads. Let's go to chapter 18 and verse 50 in the Quran. And we don't have that much time. We do not have that much time to be lied to. We don't have that much time even to be. You know, people talk about this 400-year prophecy in the book of Genesis chapter 15. We don't have that much time. We don't know when this place is going to fall. It may fall really soon. Do we have time for the lies? No, we don't. And let me tell y'all, let me keep it 1,000 with you while I'm on the air right now. I have no choice. You see how I have nobody calling in? I didn't even tell nobody I was going to go on air. But let me tell you why I'm on here right now, because Yahweh made me do it. You think I want to do this? If I wanted to do it, if I wanted notoriety, if I wanted people to see, oh, how much knowledge I got, oh, I will let everybody know. And y'all will see how much darts I throw on this mug. I mean, I go all the way in the Quran. I know the Quran better than most Muslims do. And y'all going to see it right now, but I really didn't tell nobody about this. I need to get it together for real. But the Almighty is just like in the book of Jeremiah, where he put it in my bones. He made me get up on here and do this. Y'all would never believe me. But I have to do this. Why? Why do I have to do this? Because I'm going to post it on my YouTube. I got about close to 1,000 subscribers. And somebody's going to learn something. This is for somebody. The Almighty made me put it in here for somebody. It ain't for nobody I probably know directly. This is for somebody. But let me read something. This right here. This right here is chapter 18, verse 50. And it says, and then we said to the angels, make submission to Adam. And they submitted, except Iblis. He was of the jinn, so he transgressed the commandment of his Lord. Will you then take him and his offspring for friends rather than me? And they are your enemies? Evil is the exchange for the unjust. I made them not to witness the creation of the heavens and earth, nor their own creation, nor could I take those who mislead their aiders. Now, two things right here. For somebody who does not know the scriptures or does not know anything, they could not see these things. But that's two things right here that's wrong. First thing is rebellious angels. There is not an angel in the scripture that rebels against the Creator, not even Satan. Satan himself went to ask permission to do what he wanted to do to Job. There's not a rebellious angel in the scriptures. But that was not the point that I'm trying to point out. It's right here. It's saying that the angels in the Quran is saying the angels did not witness the creation of the heavens and the earth. And we see that to be a lie. If you go to Job chapter 38, we will see that in fact the Quran is lying and the angels did witness the creation of the heavens and earth. Job 38 verse 4 says, what hast thou when I laid the foundation of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. Who have laid measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who has stretched the line upon it? Whereupon the foundation thereof fashioned, or laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of Elohim shouted for joy. Or who shut the sea with the doors when it brake forth, as if it had issued out the womb? See, right here, we see that the angels of the morning stars did witness the creation of the heavens and earth in the book of Job, chapter 38, verse 4 through 7. You can check that out. But in the Quran, it says they didn't. Now, this is just one thing. This is we just getting the ball rolling. One thing I also want you to notice in the Quran, that's a bunch of lies and foolishness, is when they mention the Creator, they always mention we. We did this, we did that. And it's talking about the Creator. Now, I know what Muslims are going to say, so I'm going to stop this right now. when you're dealing with, when the Almighty says, or when the Scripture says, let us go down, let us create man in our image after our likeness, it's talking about the Creator and His angels. Like, let us go confine the languages and the power of Babel. Let us do this. It's talking about Yahweh and His angels. So let us. But right here, this we is talking to the angels, and I want this is for our critical thinkers. We is talking to the angels. Right here, I'm trying to give you a couple new things, and I'm hoping you guys can comprehend this stuff in the Quran. I'm showing how stupid this Quran is, and I got a lot more stuff. Just hold on, a lot more foolishness in this Quran. But let me show you a couple places where the Creator calls Himself we. And also the Quran says that he's one God. He's only one God. But this one God is calling Himself we. We did this. We did that. Throughout the whole Quran. But let me just point out a couple places. Let's go to chapter 17 and verse 61. And when we said to the angels, this right here is talking about we are talking to the angels. So who is the we? The Creator is supposed to be the we. The we is plural. Now, I've seen some Muslims try to defend this. They saying some stupid shit like, well, the we is talking about, it's the royal we. Like royalty, it's the royal we. Some foolishness. Some bullshit, you know. But right here, it said, we said unto the angels, be submissive to Adam. They submitted, except Iblis. He said, shall I submit to him whom thou hast created of dust? So we said to the angels, be submissive. We did this. Also, chapter 17 and 95. It says, say there have been in the earth angels walking about secure. We would have sent down them from the heavens an angel as a messenger. So we are sending angels. We being the Most High, the Creator. God is we. God is plural. Just like right here in chapter 18, in verse 50. And when we said to the angels, make submission to Adam, they submitted except Iblis. He was of the jinn, and so he transgressed the commandment of his Lord. We then take him and his offspring for friends rather than meat, and they are your enemies. Evil is the exchange for the unjust. Right here, the Creator is we, and we is plural. But the Quran, if you go to chapters 22 and 34, we're going to see the opposite of this. 22 and 34 is saying, and for every nation we appointed acts of devotion, that they might mention the name of the deity on what has given them of the cattle of quadrupeds. So your God is one God. Therefore, to him should you submit and give good news to the humble. So right here it says, your God is one God. Your God is not a we. We does not constitute one God. But right here in the Quran, chapter 22, verse 34, your God is one God. But all throughout the Quran, it's calling God we. We talk to the angels. And like I said before, you can see where he said, let us make man in our image. He's talking about the Creator and his angels. That's why I just showed you in the book of Job, chapter 38, that when he was in the creation story, the angel was there in creation. But let's go to some other things that I want to discuss, like heaven and hell. Because we get this thing where only Christians believe that there is a heaven where you fly around with wings, and there was a hell where there's fire and brimstone. And this is our Christian and Muslim beliefs. Well, most of our people don't know that the Muslims believe in heaven and hell. They believe when you die, you're going to go up to heaven. Not only do they believe going in the gardens, because, of course, they got the gardens or rivers of wine, and they drink alcohol in heaven. But let's go to chapter 7, verse 40. Those who reject our messages and turn away from the haughty, turn away from them haughtily. The doors of heaven will not be open for them, nor will they enter the garden until the camel pass through the eye of a needle. And thus do we reward the guilty. So, of course, we see in this camel pass through the eye of a needle thing that they do in the New Testament, that whole saying in the lie of the New Testament. But right here we're seeing that the doors of heaven will not open, nor the garden. So right here, whether you know it or not, Muslims were trying to make it to heaven just like the Christians. See, because the Creator never dealt with a Muslim. Yah have never dealt with a Muslim, so they have to promise them a place that does not. I mean, of course, we have heavens, which is the sky, but nobody's promised to go up to heaven except a Muslim. They don't even promise Christians to go up to heaven, but Muslims, they promise to go up to heaven. Right here, but there's different rewards when you die. You can go to heaven as a Muslim, or you can go to these gardens with flowing rivers of wine and honey and all types of crazy shit. But let's read some more about this heaven and hell in the Quran, chapter 7, verse 50. And the companions of the fire call out to the owners of the gardens, pour on us some water or some of that which Allah has provided for you. They say, surely the deity has forbidden them both for the disbelievers. So right here, the companions of the fire call out to the owners of the garden, pour us some water. So we got companions of the fire. This is talking about hell. But let me make it more clear that it's talking about hell by going to chapter 9 and 81 of the Quran. Those who are left behind were glad on the account of the sitting behind the deity's messenger, and they were averse to striving in the deity's way with their property and their purses, and said, go not forth in the heat. Say, the fire of hell is fiercer than heat. If only they could understand. The fire of hell. The fire of hell. So not only they have a heaven, they have a hell, and they have a garden. So they got two different places to go if you're a good Muslim. You go to heaven or you go to the garden. If you're a bad Muslim, you go to hell. Period. So right here we're saying that the Muslims believe in heaven and hell too. We're going to get this straight because the Creator, he only dealt with Israel. That's why Israel was given a promised land. We were promised a land on earth that we're going to return to. That's what we were promised. We were promised that someone sleeping in the dust of the earth shall rise to everlasting life, some to everlasting life, some to everlasting contempt. So we were given a place on earth. We weren't given no place in the sky or underground. Not at all. But this is what we're dealing with when we're dealing with Muslims. And let's get to something. Let me read one thing though that I checked out. And it's a suicide incentive. It's an incentive for a Muslim to kill himself. This is chapter 9, verse 38. O you who believe, what excuse have you that when it is said to you, go forth in the deity's way, you should incline heavily to the earth? Are you contented with this world's life instead of the hereafter? The provision of this world life is but little as compared with the hereafter. So right here we're saying that the hereafter as the provision of this world life is but little compared to the hereafter. So why do you incline to life? Now, right here, we're going to go into some real good stuff. Sex with a married slave. Because, of course, in Islam, you could have sex with somebody that's married as long as you enslave them. This is chapter 4. Chapter 4, verse 24. And all married women, except whom your right hand possesses, are forbidden. This is a deity's ordinance to you. And lawful for you are all women besides those, provided that you seek them with your property, taking them in marriage, not committing fornication. So right here, all women, all married women, except the married women, whom your right hand possesses, are forbidden. So you can have sex with married women. Not only that, we're not going to stop there. We're going to go to chapter 23. Says, and who restrain their sexual passion except in the presence of their mates or those whom their right hand possesses, for such surely are not blamable. So you can have sex with a woman, you're not even married. You don't have to marry her. All you have to do is enslave her according to the Quran. And in the Quran, you can prostitute your slave girl. You can put her in prostitution. This is chapter 24. And come with me, chapter 24, verse 33. And I had a nice discussion about this. I'm going to read this. And those who cannot find a match keep chase until the deity makes them free from want out of his grace. And those of your slaves who ask for writing of freedom, give them the writing, if you know any good in them, and give them of the wealth of the deity which he has given you. And compel not your slave girls to prostitution when they desire to keep chase in order to seek the fair goods to this world's life. And whoever compels them, then surely after their compulsion the deity is forgiven merciful. For right here it says that your deity will be forgiven merciful if he compels girls to prostitution. Muslims try to turn this around and say, no, this is talking about he's going to forgive those that are compelled to prostitution. But no, he's not going to forgive the slave girls who were compelled to prostitution. Of course, he may do that, but right here he's saying he's going to forgive the person compelling them to prostitution. Let me read this again. And whoever compels them, then surely after their compulsion, compels who? Whoever compels them, right? Whoever compels them is the person prostituting them. And it says right here, whoever compels them, then surely after their compulsion, the deity is forgiven merciful. And remember, when you're dealing with a Muslim, their main cop-out is, oh, you don't know how to read Arabic. All you have to do is tell the Muslim kindly that there are 10 different translations when you go to Quran.com. 10 different translations, and all the translations are saying the same thing. And since they're an English-speaking Muslim, their first language is English, then they can't say shit. The only thing they do is translate. That's the only thing they do is translate to English to get an understanding. So there's 10 different. So which translation is wrong? Ask them which translation is the right one. Which one? We got 10 of them. The Musa Ali, all these different ones. They want to say, oh, well, since you don't really know how to read it. Well, it's 10 different translations, all of them saying the same thing. Which one of these people are saying something different? They love to make that cop out. But we can keep reading. And not only can you prostitute your slave and be forgiven, but you could commit adultery. And let's go to the book of, let's go to chapter 24, verse 3. It says, the adulterer cannot have sexual relations with any but an adulteress or an idolatress. And the adulteress, none can have sexual relations with her but an adulterer or an idolater. And it is forbidden to believers. Right here is letting you know you can have sex. Man, if you commit adultery, the only people you can have sex with is other people that committed adultery. Or an idol worshiper. You can just imagine in these Muslim countries, man, they got like websites and shit for adulterers. Have you committed adultery? Go on our website. Because now the only person you can have sex with is other adulterers. This is a wicked-ass book, and people got the damn nerve that they're holier than thou with this wicked book. But of course, we can go to Leviticus 20 and 10. Let's go to Leviticus real quick. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. They should surely be put to death. They shouldn't be able to have sex with other adulterers, as the Quran says. And let's see some other foolishness in the Quran. They're going opposite of the Creator's word. Just go to the Quran, chapter 2, verse 230. So if he divorces her the third time, she shall not be lawful to him afterwards until she marries another husband. If he divorces her, there is no blame in them both if they return to each other by marriage, but they think it can keep within the limits of the deity. Right here, this is the exact opposite that they tell you to do in Deuteronomy 24. Deuteronomy 24 says if you have a divorce with a man and you go get with another man, if something happens to him, he dies, or you get divorced with that second man, you cannot go back to your first husband. But right here in the Quran, it says you have to get with another man in order to get back with your first husband. You have to. It says if he divorces her, she shall not be lawful to him afterwards until she marries another husband. If he divorces her, there is no blame on them both if they return to each other by marriage. There is no blame if you break the commandment in Deuteronomy 24. Let's read Deuteronomy 24, because right here, it will have you doing this exact opposite of what the Creator tells us we need to do. This is what the Quran does. The Quran is garbage. Right here it says, chapter 24, if a man have taken a wife and married her, chapter 24 and 1 of Deuteronomy, this is the exact opposite of the Quran. If a man take a wife and marry her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he have found some uncleanness in her, let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it to her hand, and send her out of his house. And when she is departed out of his house, she shall go and be another man's wife. If the latter husband hate her and write her a bill of divorcement and give it to her hand and send her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which had took to be his wife, her former husband which sent her away may not take her again to be his wife. After that she is defiled, for it is an abomination before Yahweh, and I shall cause the land of sin which Yahweh Elohim have given for inheritance. Right here it said, her former husband which sent her away may not take her again to be his wife. Her former husband may not take her to be his wife. In the Bible, well, in the Old Testament, in the laws of the Creator. I ain't going to say the Bible because the New Testament is garbage. We're going to get on that in the next episode. But right here, it says, if he divorces her, she shall not be lawful to him afterwards until she marries another husband. And if he divorces, there is no blame if they both return to each other. This is the Quran. So right here we're seeing the Quran is doing the exact opposite of what the Almighty tells us to do. It wants you to be evil in the Quran. So moving on, we have a classic where you can beat your wife. That's the classic in the Quran. Let me go to that classic real quick. This is chapter 4 and 34. I think everybody should know this one. And men are maintainers of women which the deity has made some of them to excel others, and with which they spend out of their wealth. So the good women are obedient, guarding the unseen as the deity. has guarded. And as for those whom heartily fear desertion, admonish them, and leave them alone in their beds, and beat them, okay? Beat your motherfucking woman. Beat her ass if you're a Muslim. Domestic violence and a man getting put in jail for domestic violence being a Muslim, that's nothing. Their book, their God tells him to beat your woman's ass, so that's nothing. Let me continue. Now we have this Islamic dietary law. Let's get into the dietary law. I want to read some of this stuff because the great prophet Moreh Elisha Israel, he used to love to read this thing because, truth be told, a Muslim can eat a rat. A Muslim can eat a dog. A Muslim can eat a gorilla and a porcupine and a leech. If you make sure to cook the leech, because you might die if you just eat the leech like that. But a Muslim can eat anything but pork. And then, truth be told, if they're hungry enough, they can even eat pork, according to their book. Now we're gonna read. Let's go to chapter 2 and verse 172 in the Quran. And all you got to do is, get on your computer and type this in. It'll come right up. 2 and 172. And like I said, my viewers, I love y'all. Because truth be told, the only reason y'all came through is not because I promoted this shit. It's because Yahweh done directed you here. Just like the Unity Ghost. I don't never really promote like I'm supposed to. I never tell nobody I'm on this motherfucker, but somebody told you. Somebody brought you here because Yahweh made me do this, okay? I'm not doing this under my own will. Truth, and that's the 100% truth. Right here, all you who believe, eat of the good things that we have provided you with, and give thanks to the deity if it is whom you serve. He has forbidden you only what dies of itself, and blood, and the flesh of swine, and that of which any other name other than that of the deity has been invoked. Then whatever is driven by necessity, not desire, nor exceeding the limit, no sin is upon him, should your deity is forgiving, merciful. So right here, you're saying that the only thing that's forbidding is something that died of itself. Okay? No, so it's old as fuck and it just fell over, or it's died of a disease or some shit. Or blood. No, really nobody should be consuming blood anyway. That's a good thing. It said that. And the flesh of swine. That's it. So it doesn't say you cannot eat a rhinoceros or you cannot eat a tiger burger, an elephant burger. It didn't say that right here. Okay, let's go to another place for the dietary law so we can get some clear understanding for where it talks about eating in the Quran. It said, forbidden to you is that which died of itself. This is chapter 5, verse 3. And blood, and the flesh of swine, and that in which any other name other than that of the deity has been invoked, and the strangled animal, and that beating to death, and that killed by a fall, and that killed by going with a horn, and that which wild beasts have eaten, except what you slaughter, and that which is sacrificed on stones set up for idols, and that you seek to divide by arrows, that is a transgression. This day have those who disbelieve to spare your religion. So fear them not and fear me. Right here, it's saying the same thing. You know what's funny? I'm gonna read. Let me keep reading. They actually, as to what is allowed to them, say the good things are allowed to you, and what have taught the beasts of the birds of prey, training them to hunt. You teach them of the deity has taught you, so they eat of that which they catch for you, and mention the name of the deity over it, and keep your duty to the deity. Surely the deity is swift in reckoning. Right here, you're not supposed to eat something that a bird, then hemmed up. You're not supposed to eat nothing like that, according to the commandments. But I wasn't even ready for this one right here. This day, all good things are made lawful to you, and the food of those who have been given the book is lawful for you, and your food is lawful for them.
But that's a lie, though. Our food is not lawful for them. They eat camel meat. And we're going to read that where, according to the Quran, they eat camels. And that's the first animal mentioned not to eat, is a camel. But right here, let's read another lie right here. This is chapter 3 and 93. And it says, all food is lawful to the children of Israel before the Torah was revealed, except that which Israel forbade itself. Say, bring the Torah and read it if you are truthful. Now, this is stupid right here, because we all know that Noah had clean beasts and unclean beasts, because even Noah knew the difference between clean and unclean. So for them to say all food is lawful before the Torah was revealed, it's just bullshit, But, of course, this Quran is full of bullshit. So we don't have to worry about, finding bullshit. That's what it is. Chapter 2 and 168. Oh, man, eat the lawful and the good things from what is in the earth, and follow not the footstep of the devil. Surely he is an open enemy to you. Okay, that's cool. Let's just read where it says to eat camels in the Quran, just so we know that the Quran will tell you to break the commandments. This is chapter 2, 22 and 36. It says, and the camels, we have made them a sign according to the deity for you. For you there is much good. So mention the name of the deity on them standing in a row. Then when they fall on their sides, eat of them and feed the contented one and the beggar. Thus have we made them subservient to you, that you may be grateful. Right here, if you go to Leviticus chapter 11, Leviticus chapter 11, I'm gonna read verse. I'm going to start at verse 1. And Yahweh spake to Moses and to Aaron, saying to them, speaking to the children of Israel, saying, these are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatsoever part of the hoof and is cloven-footed and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof. He is unclean to you. Right here, the camel is the first animal mentioned not to eat. But, of course, the Quran is going to tell you to eat it, because the Quran is the book of Satan, who will tell you to do the opposite of what the Creator says. We see a bunch of different things showing that this Quran will have you doing the opposite of what the Creator tells you to do. Okay, if you just get a Quran and just follow what I'm saying, I'm gonna have you highlighting a bunch of stuff right here. And one more thing I want to point out that's just a blatant lie about the dietary law. We go to chapter 6. Chapter 6 and 146. And those who are Jews, we forbade every animal having claws, and of the ox and the sheep we forbade them fat thereof, except as was on their backs, or the entrails, or what was mixed with the bones. This was a punishment we gave them on account of their rebellion. We are surely truthful. So right here, because we don't eat certain unclean animals. Let me read that again. Those Jews we have forbade every animal having claws, and of oxen and sheep we forbade them the fat thereof, except as was on their backs, or the entrails, or that was mixed with the bone. This was a punishment we gave them on account of rebellion. So because we couldn't eat animals with claws or something, that was a punishment. It was a punishment that we couldn't eat a bear. It was a punishment that we couldn't eat a squirrel. And I know people eat squirrels, but it's a punishment that we can't eat a tiger. So we can't eat things with claws. It's a punishment. The Quran says a bunch of stupid shit, but look, I'm going to keep on going, because let me show some real stupid shit that it says. Now we go to chapter 5, And we're going to read how the Quran tells you to wash up with dirt. It says if you can't find water and you just had sex, you wipe your balls with dirt. If you just used the bathroom and took a shit, and believe me, it's going to say taking a shit or using the bathroom. It's going to say that specifically. Let me read this. It's chapter 5 and verse 6 of the Quran. And it says, O you who believe, when you rise up for prayer, wash your faces and your hands up to the elbows. Wipe your heads and wash your feet up to the ankles. And if you are under obligation, then wash yourself. If you are sick or on a journey, or one of you comes from the privy and you had contact with women and you could not find water, betake yourself pure earth and wipe your faces and your hands therewith. So right here it says if you are sick or on a journey, or one of you comes from the privy meaning using the bathroom, taking a shit, or you have contact with women, or that means you having sex, and you could not find water, betake yourself pure earth and wipe your faces and your hands therewith. The deity desires not to place a burden on you, but he wishes to purify you. He wishes to purify you by wiping yourself with dirt. All right? And we're going to keep it moving. So not only do you wipe yourself with dirt, let's go to finishing this thing up. So what I want to do, I want to give all praises to the mighty Yah. I'm not even going to finish this broadcast. I got things that just came up. But family, if you are listening to this, you can always call me at 513-673-0595. It's your boy, Zadok Israel. You can text me. If you want to know anything about the Quran, the New Testament, the Book of Enoch, the Talmud, you know it's your boy going against false doctrine. Just call me up, 513-673-0595. I'm here for you. I'm here for the people. And also, in the near future, I want brothers and sisters to hit me up so that we can discuss how we can collaborate on different projects. Right now, I am going downtown every other week, and we're going and talking to the people. We're going just like the Messianics do. We have not done that in our congregation, but we're going to start going outside and talking to the people and getting the people. All right? So all praises go to Yahweh. Hallelujah.